Welcome to the Challenger fourth grade math homework for this week. We are going to be looking at the bar model or tape diagram again. Remember, the goal is to learn how to draw a representation for a word problem, not just to get the right answer numerically. That's important, but your goal is to learn how to draw this representation. I would suggest you read the problem, solve the problem, and then play the video to see the solution. Do one problem at a time, not all of them, and then come check the video to see the answers. You will learn as you do a problem. Off we go. After you read this problem, you want to ask yourself those basic questions that we've learned to ask to help us get started. How many bars do I need? In other words, how many piles of stuff do I have? Who or what is involved? And who has the smallest amount? And you give them the box. Answer those questions and begin drawing. When you finish your drawing, start the tape again, and we'll pick up from there. Okay, the solutions begins with knowing that we need 3 different bars. We are going to keep track of children, men, and women. And we know that by reading this that the children have the smallest amount. So I'm going to give them the box. All right. Now I'm ready to go back and read sentence by sentence and fill in my diagram by drawing each part of each sentence. There were 22,869 children. I do not have that in my drawing yet, so I'm going to put that in. 22,869. There are 49,563 men. So that's bigger than 22,000. So I'm going to draw this box a little bit bigger and go ahead and put in the 49,563. Then it says there were 2,872 more women than men. So there are more women. Right here, the two have the same amount. They both have 49,563, but the women have 2,872 more than the men do. Then it says how many people were at the fair. So what I want to know is the whole. Make sure you always put in your question mark, what you're trying to find out. So this becomes a part-whole problem. My parts are 22,869 for children, 49,563 men, and I have the same amount of women, 49,563 plus another 2,872. So you might have added this in different ways, different parts together, but I'm going to go ahead and add all 4 together. So 3 and 3 is 6, and 9 is 15, plus 2 more is 17. Bring over the 10. 3 6s would be 18, 19, plus the 7 would be 26. So carry over the 200s. 2 and 8 is 10. 5 and 5 is 10, so I have 10 and 10 is 20. Plus the 8 is 28. Bring over the 2000s. Then I have 9 plus 9 is 18. Plus 2 is 20. Plus 2 is 22. Plus 2 more is 24. Bring over the 2 10,000s. 2, 4, 8, 12. So it's 12 10,000s. So my final answer is 124,867. So you need to then write a sentence. There were 124,867 people at the fair. And period. Okay, hope this one made sense to you. If it didn't, go back and listen to this description again. All right, off we go to the next problem. Okay, hopefully you have read this problem, and we're going to think about answering those questions. How many bars do you need? Who or what is involved? And who has the smallest amount? Go ahead and draw that in and solve the problem as best you can. Then restart the video and you can watch the explanation. Okay, so we see that we've got three different numbers, so we'll have three different bars. I have number A, number B, and I will have number C. When I read the story, it sounds like A has the smallest amount, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the shortest bar. I made the bars rather large because these numbers are big. Now I go back to my story and I draw sentence by sentence. Number A is 4,676. So I'll go ahead and make this 4,676. Number B is 10,043 greater than A. So I have the same amount as A. And I'm going to put a little dotted line that so I know it's the same amount right here. So right here they have the two numbers have the same amount. So I'll put 4,676. However, B has 10,043 more. That's big. So I'm going to make this quite large. 10,043 more. Now, C is interesting because C is compared to B. It's not compared to A. So I have to stop and think, how am I going to draw C in comparison with B? So I'll go ahead and draw B as it is. So there's my 4,676. Here's my 10,043. And right here, the two numbers would have, B and C would have the same amount. However, it says that C is 2,610 less. So I'm going to put a dotted line in here, and I'll squeeze in 2,610. Now, the question is, what is the total value of all three numbers? So I'll put my question mark over here. All right. Again, this is a part whole, although it's got a tricky piece to it. I'm going to start and just figure out the parts A and B. So let's start with the 4,676, that is A. Of course, that's letter A. The 4,676 and 10,043. And of course, that is B, number B. So I'm just going to figure out what those two parts are. 6 and 6 is 12, 3 is 15, 7 and 7 is 14, and 1 is 15, and 4 is 19 tenths. Bring over that 100. 6 and 6 is 1,200, plus 1 is 1,300. Carry over the 1,000. 4 and 4 is 8, plus the one more is 9,000. And of course, it's 1/10,000. So right now, I have 19,395. But now I've got to go think about C. I know that C is 2,610 less than B. So I'm going to take this 10,043 and subtract the 2,610. And that will make it less than B. So that would be 3, 3, regroup this to 9, And I was just so this amount for C is 7,433. So I'm going to add C, the total of C, to A and B. So I end up with 19,395 plus this amount right here, which is 4,676, plus this amount of C, which is 7,433. And when I add that together, I get, so when I add it's 5 and a 6 and 11, and 3 is 14. 1 and 9 is 10, 7 and 3 is 10, so 10 and 10 is 20 tens. Bring over the 200s. 2 and 3 is 5, 6 is 11, and 1 is 15 hundreds. Take over that 1,000. 10, 14, and 7 is 21 thousands. Bring over that 2 10,000s. 2 and 1 is 3. So the total amount for A, B, and C, the total value is 31,504. And I have completely filled up this page and do not have room to write the sentence. But you should have room on your paper to write the sentence. Whew, this one was a good one. Okay, so we're ready for the last problem on our homework. Go ahead and read it and answer our 3 getting started questions. Solve it as best you can, and then come back and compare your solution to mine. I will tell you there's a tricky part of this story because it says the rest of the balls were footballs. And I don't know, that's not really telling me whether the footballs were more than baseballs or less than. So I'm not going to worry about that when I think about drawing the smallest rectangle. I'm just going to compare the baseballs and the basketballs when I draw that smallest rectangle. All right, off you go, stop the tape, and solve the problem. All right, when I look at this problem, I see that there are should be three different bars. So there were baseballs, there were basketballs. I'm going to abbreviate BAS because I'm going to run out of room. And then, of course, the last ball was the football. All right. Now I go back and I realize I don't know how to compare the footballs yet. So I'm not going to worry about this. I'm going to just compare the baseballs and basketballs, and there were fewer basketballs. So I'm going to give the basketballs the box. Now I'll go back to the beginning of the story and draw in sentence by sentence. A store sold a total of 21,650. So there's my total. So my whole is 21,650 balls. It sold 11,795 baseballs, which I know is bigger than the basket. So I'll make this one bigger. And it was 11,795. Then it says it sold 4,150 fewer basketballs than baseballs. So I know that if I imagined another 4,150, ugh, I think my pen is starting to die. If I imagine another 4,150, I would have the same amount as the baseballs. To think about that. Then it says the rest of the balls were footballs, and I don't know. I know it's going to be a very small amount because when I look at the other numbers, 11,000 here, that's over halfway to the 21. So I'm just going to draw a smaller box for footballs and put a big question mark because that's what I'm trying to find out, how many footballs there were. All right, so as I look at this, I realize it's a part whole problem. I know the whole. Here's my whole. And I know this part, but I don't fully know this part. And of course, I don't know this part at all. So I'm going to start figuring out how many basketballs I had. So if I had 4,150 less basketballs, 4,150 less basketballs, I would then, baseballs, I would take that amount away from the 11,795. I can see that I need to cut out that part to find out how many basketballs. That would be five, that would be 5, 4, 6, and 7. So that means there were 7,645 basketballs. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you now. So now I know what this part is. I know what this part is, and this is a missing part. So if I add my baseball and basketballs together, then I can subtract to find the missing part. So let's do that. I have the 11,795 plus the 7,645, and that would equal 10, 14, 7 and 7 is 14, 8, 9, and 1. That equals 19,440. So just to be sure you're clear, the baseball and the baseball and the basketball equal this amount. So if I take this amount away from my whole, so 21,650, and I take that 19,000 away, I end up with 2,210 footballs. So it would be 2,210 as my other part. So the sentence would be, the store sold 2,210 footballs. All right. A little bit challenging here with that missing part. Okay, I hope it makes sense to you now. If it doesn't, come see me at school and we'll talk about it some more. Have a good evening.